Forest Service. Forest
Oh,
Service. And
move
Park
it out.
Service.
See you later, buddy.
Okay, bye-bye.
We're going to kick things off a bit early today because we have a full agenda. Again, we're doing lots of fun stuff, giving out money, my favorite thing in the world. And
we aren't giving out money, girl, that you're awarding money.
And I want to just say a personal thank you to everyone who made it out today.
Mute yourself.
And today was no exception. This morning it was kind of wild and woolly, and she's targeting our Wednesday meetings, I feel like. So hopefully things will settle down just a little bit for us. I'm President Jean. I'm very happy to be here presiding. Our sympathy goes out to past President Sherry Dillon. You all should have received a notification that unfortunately her mother passed away over the weekend, and we do have a card that's going to go around for that. There is a service for her Thursday, and it'll be in Wytheville, Virginia. Our thoughts are with John Ewart, who's also recovering from a small surgery that he had recently. So we have a card for him as well, John. Thank you. First up, we're going to have our call for introspection and our Pledge of Allegiance with David Spangler.
Well, I love history, and again, we do the two together. So this is kind of God, moment of introspection, and country, the Pledge of Allegiance. So, little tidbit, I'm a direct descendant of Governor William Bradford. Goes back 11, 12 generations or whatever. So I just happen to have the Mayflower Compact here. So I would try to read it to you because this is a copy of the original, but it's in Old English writing. I cannot read it, so you're going to get the printed version. So, and again, I love history, and so this is all about what Governor Bradford wrote. In the name of God, amen. We whose names are underwritten, the loyal subjects of the dread sovereign Lord King James, by the grace of God of Great Britain, France, and Ireland, King, defender of the faith, have undertaken the glory of God and advancement of the Christian faith and honor of our King and country, a voyage to plant the first colony in the northern part of Virginia. When the Mayflower sailed, they were trying to get to Virginia, but they got blown off course and ended up in Massachusetts. By these presents, solemnly and mutually in the presence of God and one another, covenant and combine ourselves together into a civil body politic for our better ordering and preservation and furtherance of the ends aforesaid, and by virtue hereof do enact, constitute, and frame such just and equal laws, ordinances, acts, constitutions, and offices from time to time, as such be thought most meet and covenant for the good general good of the colony, unto which we promise all due submission and obedience. In witness whereof we have herefore ascribed our names at Cape Cod the 11th of November in the year of the reign of the sovereign Lord King James of England, France, and Ireland, the 18th, and of Scotland, the 44th, and Anno Domini 1620. If you didn't follow that, ask these young folks there. I'm sure they can translate that for you. You'll follow me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Dave. That was an interesting piece of history to share with us today. Next up, we have the introduction of guests done by new member Rita Joyce.
Good afternoon. Welcome, fellow Kiwanians and all of our guests today. My name is Rita Joyce, and I work for the Bank of Bogota as Community Development Officer. Why did I join Kiwanis? I'm always intentional about organizations that I join. An organization with the longevity of Kiwanis speaks volumes for the dedication and commitment of its members. And agape love for the community has always been my passion for many years. And the mission of Kiwanis parallels with my passion. Therefore, being a member of Kiwanis, it's a no thought process. My job today is to introduce the guest. So as I call your name and your host, if you would please stand. The Cave Spring High School Key Club, I think it's at about 12, and Larry Kafol is the host. He's going to introduce them later on. We have Jordan Dowsman of the Life Ring Foundation, and his host is Fred Jeter. We have Jennifer Massey of Bright Star Care, and she is hosted by Jeannie Bollador. We have Will Stevenson of March McLennan Agency, and his host is Chris Rouse. We have Jay Kilby of the Roanoke Valley Association of Realtors, and his host, and he's a guest of our guest speaker today, Julie Kingery. Montana Kimmery of the Ronald McDonald House of Southwest Virginia, and her host is Joe Limmer. We have Jack Fry of Young Realty. The host is J.C. Taylor. We have Mac Westland of Mac Westland Real Estate Group, and his host is Kevin Holt. I want to welcome all of our guests to the Kiwanis meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. That was excellent. And I would just issue an invitation for all of our guests. You are more than welcome to come back and join us. And if you have any interest in membership, please let us know. We also offer a corporate membership, which Rita has with Bank of Bogota and Kevin has with Gentry Lock. So if you have some questions about that, just let us know. It's a great opportunity. Next up, we're going to give away money. So this is for Ronald McDonald House, for Roanoke, and Life Ring. John Montgomery is going to handle that for us.
Thank you, President Jean. Grant Committee Chairman Bob Haberman has done a beautiful job leading us through the grant process this year, and I made the mistake of telling him that he'd done such a good job. I was happy to pinch hit anytime he couldn't be here, and right now he's in the Caribbean, so just a coincidence, I'm sure. So he asked if I would substitute for him on this last official Wednesday of grant presentations. We might have another one later on, but right now this would complete the cycle as we originally scheduled with the 25 checks. Today we have 3 to present. They are to Ronald McDonald House, to Opera Roanoke, and to Life Ring Foundation. And I'm pleased to say all 3 of our charities are here today. What I'd like to do is call on the respective sponsors who supplied and signed off on the grant application to come forward with their charity and briefly tell us a little bit about the charity, and then have our grant recipient tell us how the money will be spent. And the first people that will be coming forward will be Kiwani and Joe Lemmer, and from the Ronald McDonald House, Montana Kimmery. Joe, Montana.
I have the pleasure today of introducing Montana Kimmery. She's from Ronald McDonald House, and the program that we're supporting is the Hearts to Go program. That's where lunches are packaged and given to the families of inpatient children who are in Roanoke Memorial Hospital and in Lewis Gale Hospital. That helps support the families during their time of stress. Kiwanis did support Ronald McDonald House for a number of years. It was broken off about 2020 during the COVID epidemic, but we're glad to be able to resume it. The other project that we're getting involved with Ronald McDonald House are those who'd be interested in actually volunteering to package the lunches at Ronald McDonald House that are distributed to these families. If anybody's interested in doing that, they can contact me or Rebecca Brockman, who coordinates the program. So I'll hand the microphone over to Montana.
Thank you, Joe. My name is Montana Kimry. I'm with the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Southwest Virginia. If you are unfamiliar with what the Ronald McDonald House does, we serve and support families that are battling pediatric illness, whether that looks like, you know, a traumatic accident that child has gone through, or they're battling childhood cancer, or, you know, a baby is born prematurely. We're there to support that family because we believe no child should ever have to face that fight alone without their mom, their dad, their family. So that's where we step in. We have two main programs, our house program and our Ronald McDonald House Family Room. So our house is a place where people coming from out of town to get medical treatment for their child can stay at that house for as long as their child is hospitalized. They have a nice place to sleep, food to eat, a place to do laundry, and all of that is at no cost to the family for as long as their child is hospitalized. Our family room, located on the 14th floor of Curley Memorial, is a place for both those families that are coming from out of town and local families to have a place steps away from their child's bedside to get some respite. The hospital is a noisy place, really busy. If you've ever been in the NICU, you get kicked out of there if they're going to do a surgery on a child. Everyone is evacuated out of the room and you have to have a place to go. So having a place like the family room, where you can get a cup of coffee, a snack, and just be around people that understand what you're going through is really a great resource to these families. The Hearts to Go program is something we kind of just recently coined. As we were looking at studies, we were saying, how can we serve more families and how can we serve them better? And we recognized a disparity that was existing, food insecurity over at the hospital. So our families would go at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, grab breakfast, head over to the hospital, and they wouldn't be home till 9 o'clock at night when they would eat the dinner we provided. So providing a healthy lunch and resources for them that they don't have to pay for out of Curlian's cafeteria or eating out of a vending machine is really important. So that's where the Hearts to Go program steps in. We prepare pretty much like bag lunches that have a number of healthy options for those families, and then transport them over to our family room and serve them out of there. So this grant is going to cover essentially about 6 weeks of the program, which is awesome. It takes about $1 for us to provide one lunch. We're able to stretch that money incredibly far with what we do. So just wanted to say thank you so much for what you guys do and our partnership. It's really important to us, and we would love for you to come out to the house, see the house, take a tour, get involved, and come pack some lunches. Thank you so much.
Opera Roanoke is one of about a half dozen organizations in the arts field that our club has chosen to support this year. And now I'd like to ask Kiwanis, the Executive Director of Opera Roanoke, Brooke Tolley, to come forward and tell us a little bit about their organization. Brooke?
Hello, nice to see you all this afternoon. My name is Brooke Tolley, and I'm the General Director at Opera Roanoke, which is a performing arts nonprofit here, primarily in the downtown area, but we serve this entire region because we are the only opera company in Southwest Virginia. The grant that you all have funded, the program that you all have funded this year is specifically for our Young Artists program, which currently supports college students who are embarking on a career in the performing arts. But we are expanding that program this year to include high school students, which we've not been able to do until this year. So we're very excited about that. We really are looking for opportunities to provide high school students with sort of more education than they are getting in schools in this realm of music and the arts. And we have planned for them to do a program this summer. Well, they will come to us and we'll work with them, giving them master classes and workshops, and then they'll be able to put on their own performance at the end of this program. So we're very excited about that. Thank you all so much for continuing your partnership and supporting our young artists here in the Roanoke Valley. Thanks.
LifeRing Foundation. Jordan Bausman is here representing LifeRing. Fred Jeter, who introduced Jordan to our club and had her speak to us some time ago, is the sponsor. Fred, would you tell us a little bit about the organization, and then Jordan can tell us specifically how this grant will be used.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce Jordan Bausman to you today. Jordan is the Vice President of Philanthropy at LifeRing Foundation. And as John mentioned, you may remember when Kelly Woolwine, the founder of the organization, and Jordan came in the fall and spoke to us on their mission. Jordan's been with LifeRing for 2 years and in the nonprofit sector for 10 years, including the American Cancer Society. Jordan moved to the Roanoke Valley from Indiana 12 years ago and lives in Blue Ridge with her husband up on the top of a mountain, very different environment than Indiana. And Jordan, they have 2 young children and 1 dog, and they're also very dear friends of my family. LifeRing's foundation purpose is to enhance critical care and access to resources to produce more positive outcomes for children and their families battling pediatric cancer in the Roanoke Valley in Southwest Virginia. So I'd like to turn it over to Jordan, and she'll share what the intended use of the grant is. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today. Like Fred said, my name is Jordan Bausman. I'm the Vice President of Philanthropy for the LifeRing Foundation. Quick history in case you didn't hear Kelly Woolwine's speech in the fall. LifeRing has been around since 2005, serving Southwest Virginia, mainly NICU funding, women organizations, families in need. And the name actually came from when you're out in open water and you're swimming and you need help, we're here to throw a life ring. So up until 2018, their daughter Charlotte was diagnosed with a rare form of pediatric cancer, and the vision of the foundation changed from there. They recently, through that journey and experience, they realized quickly that the resources that they needed for her treatment and care were not here in Southwest Virginia, and they were very fortunate that they were able to go elsewhere to Cincinnati Children's to get the care that she needed. And she's now 9 years old and thriving. A very miraculous, amazing story with her rare form of liver cancer. But when they decided through that journey, once she got through it, they were coming back here and changing the narrative for kids in Southwest Virginia, because believe it or not, Roanoke, the Star City, is the big city in the tri-state area for any child diagnosed with pediatric cancer or blood disorders. So we launched the Fighting Kids Cancer campaign in early January of 2023. We're now 2 years in, over $4 million, thanks to, in large part, to our golf tournament at Valley High Golf Club. If there's any golfers in here, Charlotte Playo Invitational, visit liferingfoundation.org for all your details. But we have a long way to go. But exciting news, even since Kelly came and spoke in the fall, we are in full partnership agreement with Carillion Clinic and Carillion Clinic Foundation, Carillion Children's Miracle Network, that entire umbrella. And we are hiring 7 new pediatric hematology and oncology positions, 3 by the end of this year, 7 total in the next 2 years is our plan. So really exciting. urgent impact that's happening locally. We hope to hire a head of pediatric hematology oncology, the chief position, as well as a nutritionist and social worker by the end of this year. So even though we love the exciting news of the brand new cancer center getting built, this money is going towards impact urgently for kids who are walking in right now and getting diagnosed, and they're going to get better care and treatment because of the restricted funding that we're giving to Carilion Children's for those positions. So thank you all again so much. And I have a couple copy of these if anybody wants to take one home with them today. Thank you.
Okay, we're giving some money to some awesome causes in our community. Thank you all. Next up, we have our Cave Spring Key Club, and Larry Cooper is going to introduce the group, and then we will have some of the group members speak to us.
Thank you, President Jane. And I'm Larry Kufel, and it's my pleasure and my privilege to be the Kiwanis Key Club advisor for this Key Club right here, Cave Springs. It is I think, is the biggest and the best Key Club in the Roanoke Valley and possibly through the state of Virginia. We have 120 paid members, so we're creeping up on the count for the Kiwanis Club. I think we're getting close. We're getting close. Exactly. And besides the 120 paid members, it's led by a very passionate and caring faculty advisor, Ann Houston. So would you please stand up, Ann? Ann has been the faculty advisor for 10 years. And the students love and respect her. Some of us Kiwanians were discussing, I think it was a week or two ago, what are the factors that make a Key Club successful? And we felt that the major factor is the faculty advisor. And Ms. Houston checks all the boxes for that. She's the best. Now I'm going to introduce you to the 11 officers that Cave Spring Key Club has. They operate the leadership team as a team. So everybody helps out wherever they need the work to be done. So number one, Malachi Lee is in the Key Club, but he's also the lieutenant governor for the district. Yanachek. Rishi Patel. Giselle Kraus. Adian Alexander. Julie Denko. Feel like I'm naming off all the graduates here and Vita Panchamarsi. Moyo Dinikin. Skylar Urick. Kendall West. She's going to be playing golf for Roanoke College next year. And Sophie Weddle. Now I want Malachi Lee to come up and give you a summary of what they've been doing, what they've done in the past, and what they're going to be doing in the future with the Key Club and their vast number of service projects.
Thank you, Mr. Kufel. And good afternoon. And I just want to thank all y'all for inviting us out today for this special occasion. Like you said, we're the Key Club officers for Cave Spring High School. And as of right now, we have 126 members and as a total of over 1,500 hours. I myself is Malachi Lee. I am the Lieutenant Governor of Division 15B. What I basically do is look over about 10 school Key Clubs and just a bridge between the Capital District and our school clubs, sending emails out, presentations, and everything of the sort. Some of the stuff that we were doing for our Key Club is right here on the screen over here. First is apple gleaning. Our apple gleaning was hosted by our neighboring district 15A. We went to this apple orchard in Bedford and we picked the apples that they couldn't sell and donated them to shelters and food banks. Our next one is the trunk or treat. For the trunk or treat, we decorated our cars and as superheroes, and we gave candy to the children. Our next one is the Gingerbread Festival. We helped set up, run some of the games, dress up as Rudolph and Frosty, and play with the children. Our next is book donations. One of our one of our clubs at our school, the National English Honor Society, was doing their annual book drive, and we helped out by donating books, and we got over 700 books. Our next one is Clearbrook. Yesterday, we went to Clearbrook Elementary School and we discussed the importance of heart health and what you can do to stay healthy. We also played some educational games with them. Our next one is the bell ringing. Around Christmas time, we help collect donations for the rescue mission. Another one is a rescue mission. At the rescue mission, we help prepare food to be served. Another one is the Salem Marathon. At the Salem Marathon, we helped out and hand out waters for the runners. The other one that was recent was Penn Forest. At Penn Forest Elementary School, we helped set up the play games, paint faces for all the kids and for their festival. Our other one was the Soup for Seniors. For Soup for Seniors, we donated a lot of non-perishable items for the senior citizens in the nursing home. And some other events we have coming up is our Key Club Week, which is a whole week we're dedicating for Key Club, and we're gonna do a whole bunch of fun stuff. Also, we have a pancake breakfast coming up, which is a really big event for us, and another marathon. And with that, I'm done. Thank you.
Wow, I think they're putting us to shame. For our guests, just so that you are aware, a lot of people don't realize the connection between Key Club and Kiwanis, and Key Club is a junior Kiwanis club. And so we sponsor these youth clubs at area high schools and help with leadership skills, give them volunteer service opportunities, scholarships, and they are the future of Kiwanis. So we're very excited to have them here. Next up, I just want to take a moment to recognize our March birthdays, which we do every month. Now, if your birthday is in March and I call your name, we'd love to have you stand and be recognized. And I'm just going to mention that we have a very special somebody who has a special birthday today. President-elect Joyce Montgomery. Other birthdays this month, March 3rd, Bruce Swanson. March 11th, Don Wilson and Reggie Wood. March 13th, Sherman Lee. March 15th, David Lemon. March 19th, Preston Collins. March 20, Donna Lynch. Come on, Donna. March 24, Sherry Hartman, Joe Lemmer. March 28th, Courtney Plaster. March 30, Dave Perry. Here's Dave, there he is. And March 31st, Bill Bestpitch. Would you all please join me in singing happy birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kiwani House. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, thank you. All right, we've got a little bit of time, and I know Ashton has a brag buck that he wants to do, so I'm going to ask him to come up. Are there any other? And Steve will do a brag buck with you, and Reef and Ryan. Okay. All right. On your tables is the agenda, and we have upcoming events on there. Don't forget that our Mill Mountain Theater Social is next week, and let Larry know if you want to participate in that.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ashton King, and I'm with the local Office on Aging. You can see on your tables, I went around and put out our annual report. It's just a quick summary of everything that we've been into in the last fiscal year. You're also going to see an envelope here, which is an invitation to our annual meeting that is upcoming. We are so grateful for all of the support that Kiwanis provides, the local Office on Aging, both from volunteers and the fiscal support. We would love to have you guys join us at our annual meeting and hear more about what is upcoming and what LOA has accomplished in the past. So if you want to on your table, you can fill this out, pop it in the mail. I'll also leave some extra copies of both the annual report and invitations out on the table. Again, thank you so much for all your support.
It's great to see all the key clubbers here. Warms my heart. Yeah. This is personal brag. I'm going to do two brags in one. Okay. Personal brag. My fiance and I got married at Martin's last Tuesday, and we wanted to share that last week, and I have to bounce before the meeting. It's one, and two, again, family related. I want to brag on my daughter Cora being on 13th month on Monday. She turned 13 months, and she got 15 steps in to become a walker. So I'm incredibly proud of her, and just wanted to share that and brag on her. Thank you.
Reed Kessler. I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to wedge myself up here today, but since it was the last day for grant presentations, I'll brag on Bob Haberman and his group for judiciously allocating funds to a variety of organizations through the valley. Now, having said that, Lois James was up last week and had a ream of thank you notes from kids at the West End Center. It's easy in the hubbub of the holiday party there for the West End Center kids to lose sight of the fact that on that day we did issue a grant for the West End Center. As it turns out, I think sometimes we don't get a lot of follow-up about what these grants are used for. As it turns out, the grant for the West End Center was to attempt to have some evening functions to engage the parents who have children at the West End Center in what happens there. A lot of these kids are transported by bus from their school to the West End Center for the afternoon activities and picked up at the curb on the street by their parents to leave. And I suspect some of these parents have never been inside the facility. So anyway, the grant to the West End Center was to have some evening functions to try to bring the parents and their kids into community there. A couple of these have already occurred, and I'm here to report that one of them involved the parents coming to the center and playing some literacy games with their children and receiving some supplies to help do that. And another one was more of a social function that happened earlier this week, where the parents were able to take their children to the Grandin Theater where they watched a movie, not The Brutalist or any of the other Academy Award nominated movies, but a family favorite from long ago, and have popcorn together. So I'm here for the West End Center to say thank you again for that particular grant and to let you know how it was being utilized.
Evening, Raw, to brag on the world's greatest real estate broker. His name is Jack Fry, the owner of Young Realty. And the reason I know so much about Jack is because he has managed J.C. Taylor and me for more than 45 years in the business. That deserves a reward. Thank you, Jack.
Very nice, C. Thank you. So as you all can see, brag bucks are an opportunity for us to promote something exciting in the community or share some personal celebrations. Those monies go into our foundation, and our foundation is what helps with our service projects and the grants that we gave out earlier. So thank you for that. Next up, it's my pleasure to introduce my good friend, J.C. Taylor, who will be introducing our guest speaker for today.
Good afternoon to all of you. It's good to be here today to introduce this great speaker. And Steve McGraw, before I start, I want to thank you. You saved me $2. I was going to brag on Jack also being our broker for such a long time. So thank you, Steve. I put my money back in my pocket. Thank you so much. We're glad to have our guest today, Miss Julie Kingery. She happens to be the president of the Roanoke Valley Association of Realtors. I was looking around for somebody who could bring us some good information. And you all know the way the economy is changing, the buying is changing, the interest rates are changing, and who else could I bring in but the head of the head, Miss Julie Kingery. A little bit about Julie. Her mom and dad are both realtors, Billy Kingery and Betty Kingery. It's kind of hard to show real estate in Franklin County unless you see one of those names on the sign. Very, very outstanding family in Franklin County. Julie has been in real estate for about 18 years. She graduated from the University of Tennessee in communications. Mom, realtor, dad, a realtor. What else could she do but become a realtor? For the past 18 years, she has a husband also. His name is Tyler Lee. Two boys, Jackson and James, one 2.5 years and one is 11 months. To join her today, we have about 4 or 5 realtors in the house today. Good all you have come out. And Julie would like, before you all disappear, or you realtors, she'd like to make a picture with you up here showing support for her. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you, Miss Julie Kingery, President of the Roanoke Valley Association of Realtors.
Thank you. Kind words. Thank you all for having me today. Like you said, I'm Julie Kingery, and I am the 2025 president of the Roanoke Valley Association of Realtors. I'm going to give you a little overview of the real estate market right now. So I do have a little slideshow. Hopefully you can see it well enough. But first I'll introduce or tell you a little bit about myself. Like JC said, I grew up in Franklin County. I went to the University of Tennessee. Some people might like that, some might not, but I'll just say go Vols. I got my real estate license in 2007, and I have been with my firm Mountain to Lake Realty since. I married Tyler in 2018. We had our first son, Jackson, in 22, and having a child wasn't keeping us busy enough, so I decided to get my broker license in 23, and then we welcomed James last March. So the Roanoke Valley Association of Realtors was established in 1921. Our mission is to lead, inform, and serve its members, promote the realtor image, and preserve real property rights. Our purpose is to serve as a primary resource to enable its members to conduct real estate practice in an efficient and ethical manner and to attain professional success. So right now we have 1,416 realtor members and 285 affiliate members. And those affiliate members include home inspectors, mortgage companies, title companies, anybody that might help us conduct business. We have a 12-person board of directors, and I do have a picture of those. Some of those you might recognize. Maybe you've done business with them. Mac Westland is here. He's on our board. Jay Kilby is our immediate past president. And I brought Jay, but Mac was a surprise. So if anybody has questions I can't answer later, they're here to help. And then the RVAR owns our MLS, the multiple listing service, which houses all of our inventory. It encompasses the cities of Roanoke, Salem, the towns of Bedford and Benton, and then the counties of Roanoke, Botetourt, Bedford, Franklin, and Craig. And if anybody else is from Franklin County, we do have town of Rocky Mount also. I'm going to have to talk to Laura about adding that to our MLS. But the MLS board is a 7-person board of brokers. And I do have a picture of those. Jack Fry, who is here, is part of that MLS board. And then Laura Benjamin is our CEO. So those are who keeps our RVAR and MLS moving forward. And RVAR also has a wonderful staff. So I don't have pictures of all of them, but so moving on to January 2025 sales and listing data. I know a lot of people are interested in this. So we have 312 contracts closed, 380 under contract. Our average price closed is just under 361,000. The median price closed just under 279,000. We have, as of January, 732 residential listings in our MLS.
And at the rate that agents are selling right now, that's about 2 months worth of inventory. So that's still considered a seller's market. And then this one is very small, sorry. But on the very bottom line, if you'll just kind of take note, we're going from 2022 to the current day. The bottom number, you'll see average home price went from 314 up to, I think it's about 360. But you'll notice that that is increasing, and it may continue to increase in 2025, maybe not at quite that rate. So the next slide is a little bit closer of the first quarter in case you want to see a closer image of some of those numbers. We won't have February numbers until March 15th. And a benefit of being a member of RVAR, we are members of the Virginia Realtor Association as well. So we have some economists that work full-time to gather information. And this is just a snapshot of the housing market. You can see an uptick in activity at the beginning of 2025, while pending sales were down. There were 5,758 home sales across the state in January, which is 104 more sales than a year ago, which is about a 2% increase. And then you'll see the significant decrease in sales from December to January. So the middle column is year January of 24 to January of 25. And then the second column is monthly from December 24 to January of 25. So home prices are continuing their upward rise in many of our local markets. The statewide median sales price is $399 as of January, which is up more than $27,000, which is a 7.3% increase. Our inventory seems to be improving, with both new listings and active listings increasing compared to last year. Our home prices continue to climb in majority of Virginia, but we have seen a little bit of a slowdown in Southwest Virginia and the New River Valley. At the end of January, there were 16,990 active listings in Virginia, which is 3,088 more listings than last year. So that's a big 22% jump. So if you'll see the next slide, and again, this is from the Virginia Realtor Association. So they have some of these statistics if you're wanting to see them a little bit more. The overall economy outlook seems to be going to be remaining resilient at the beginning of the year. Our unemployment levels remain unchanged and continue to be at a pretty healthy level in Virginia. And then the next slide, sales activity is outpacing last year. So the Virginia Realtors are projecting that this trend will hold throughout the year. And if mortgage rates will stabilize and drift downward as projected, we expect sales to improve in 2025. And the demand from both first-time buyers and repeat buyers, coupled with the more active listings, will likely keep our market activity up in 2025 compared to 2024. And of course, there's always going to be the fluctuations based on seasonal factors, and then of course, local pricing trends. They're projecting mortgage rates to end the year in the low 6% range and possibly slightly under 6% by the end of the year. We don't have a magic crystal ball to make sure that happens, but we're hopeful. As of February 13th, the average rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage was 6.87%. Rates increased between mid-December and mid-January, but they've been slowly drifting downward over the past few weeks. And as of this morning, I think they were about 6.625, and that's dependent on what type of loan you're getting. And then we'll shift over to some national. Ramsey Solutions says, despite the high interest rates, it's still a great time to buy a house. Higher rates have priced some of our buyers out of the market, so you don't have quite as much competition right now. We're not seeing that that's completely true. It's mostly true, but I think we still are seeing a few multiple offer situations, but definitely not quite as many as what we have been seeing. And then if you were to purchase now, hopefully you would have the potential in the future to refinance and get a lower rate. And then this was just kind of an interesting slide. I thought Americans have either own their home free and clear, or they have at least 50% equity. Just thought that was something neat to see. And then the next slide shows you always hear real estate's your best investment, and I think that still remains true now, even over cryptocurrency. And then sometimes we hear that the real estate market is slowing down, or that it might be headed toward another cycle of foreclosures. But I think, as you saw in the previous slide about equity that people have, I don't think that's going to happen. Seems like so many Americans have enough equity that they could avoid a foreclosure even if they have life changes. So this slide does project an increased percentage of people hoping to buy a home in 2025. And then here's just kind of a fun fact that I'm going to end on. There are 1.5 million realtors nationwide, and 71% did not have a single transaction in 2024. So, as you saw, that 732 inventory in January and 1,400 plus realtors, we're all fighting. So, again, thank you all for having me. I know that was quick and a lot to gather, but if anybody has any questions, hopefully not. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes. So he asked about the lawsuits that have been happening and how they are affecting realtor compensation. And I will try, but Jay I might call on Jay to come help me. But as of August, we had a lawsuit that everybody probably knows about. So basically we're signing agreements with buyers prior to showing homes, and we are working out what compensation we might be paid from that buyer. And we're just supposed to have that signed prior to touring any homes. Whether it's changed a lot of how we do activity, we haven't seen a whole lot of change. People continue to do business. In Virginia, we've always had agency. So a lot of our agents, before they go out with a buyer, sign an agency agreement anyways. So this just discloses how much we have negotiated to be paid at the end of the transaction. And we can still ask a seller to pay that compensation for our buyer if a buyer is not able to pay us. Does that help? Make sure. Do you want to elaborate? I'll let Jay elaborate.
Thanks for having me. I'm Jay Kilby. I was the president last year when all the changes went into effect. So I've done this 1,000 times, so a little bit easier to talk about. So just a quick note, that was not a local lawsuit that happened. It was actually a class action lawsuit that started in Missouri back in 2018. So it was an evolving process. It was over sellers suing the National Association of Realtors and multiple brokers to say that the National Association of Realtors had acted as a cartel and tried to fix commission rates at 6%. Commission rates for the recent history have always been negotiable and oftentimes are not 6%. But the most common model was 6%. So that challenged it, and there were a few things that came out of the settlement. There was initially a court case that once it was a final verdict that went through, and they did rule in favor of the plaintiff, meaning sellers nationwide, and they made those changes. There were 3 major changes that did come out of it. Like Julie said, in Virginia, we already had it, but they required buyers' brokerage agreements to be in writing prior to seeing a house. So that's always been Virginia code since 2012. It was not a common practice, but you've got to get it out there in the open before you can step foot in a house to see it with your agent, establishing who represents whom in the transaction, as well as is the buyer going to have to pay anything on behalf of or for the services of their agent. The second thing, it was eliminating on the MLS a field that established how much a seller was paying for a buyer's agent's commission. And so that changed as well. That had to be taken out. And then the third thing was a much smaller change that was within the internal MLS controls. But that's yeah, it's a brief one. It's still ongoing. There's a lot of lawsuits that are going on out there. The practices have already been changed since last August. It has not shown a tremendous amount of change within the industry beyond, you just have to have everything out in the open, transparently saying, how are we being compensated and who's paying it? So, is that a little clear? Any questions there? Way too much? Okay.
So he asked about construction and what is attributing the increase in sales prices. Is that a good summary of what that was? I would say that the buyer's market kind of drove it up. We had so many multiple offers that people were willing to pay more, and that drove the prices of our houses up. Does that help? Okay. Mm-hmm. So he asked about the turnover for the realtors, why there were so many that have not sold anything. Some people just want to have their license because they want to know what's going on in real estate. They may have a family member that's looking to buy and they want to get their license so that they can help them. A lot of those that didn't sell most likely have another job. So I would say that 29% of us are the ones who do this full time. We're in the office 7 days a week, reachable 24/7. Anything else? All right. Thank y'all. Thank you so much, Julie. That was very interesting. And we have a small honorarium for your charity of choice. This is Breakthrough Type 1 Diabetes Walk. So this is to help with juvenile diabetes. Is that correct? Both of my sisters are type 1 diabetics, so that's how I. Thank you. Thank you so much. I saw the card at some point floating around. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, so just make sure that finds its way back up for us, please. And so I'll just quickly review the announcements that we didn't do earlier. Book club meets tonight at 6 at South County Library. We have our officers meeting tomorrow. The board meeting is next Monday at the Water Authority. The Nature Park Committee meets Monday at 4. And then, of course, the Mill Mountain Social. This is your last opportunity to sign up. So please let Larry know if that's something that you would like to participate in. And next week, we're going to kick off our Kiwanis pancake fundraiser. So it's going to be all Joyce. We're very excited. We're getting our tickets made. We're getting our posters made. Lots of exciting things happening. You'll get your teams announced next week. We've got some pretty ferocious ticket sales team leaders this year. So we're very, very excited about that as well. And I wanted to take a quick moment. I don't see her here, but hopefully she can hear me in the back. I just wanted to give a superpower award. As you all know, we've been recognizing members for their superpowers this year. And I wanted to make sure that Amy Carter is recognized because something you might have noticed the past couple of weeks is that we now have 100% environmentally friendly serveware for our lunches. So that's our cups and that is our napkins and plates. And now we now have compostable knives, forks, and spoons. So I'd just like to give her a big round of applause for that. As you all know, we support children, we support older adults, and we also support the environment. So this is important for our club to walk the walk. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.